You know, a friend of mine posted to social media just recently, and it says, growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as being stuck where you don't belong. Let's maybe discuss that a little bit today.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, welcome to the show. Love that little, it's called Old Do-Wackadoodle. My name's Will Sinclair, and you're listening to The Real Truth About You. And we're hosted at therealtruthaboutyou.com, and what this show is about is to help you to become the most amazing you that you are. By helping you discover the inside of you. When you get the inside right, the outside tends to take care of itself, your relationships, your careers, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, today we're going to talk about growth, change, that kind of stuff. A little bit anyway. I would like to... this morning I was actually thinking, you know, I don't make any money with this podcast, which is fine. That's not necessarily why I'm doing it. I'm doing it mostly because I believe in what I talk about. And personal transformation has been big in my life, over my life. A lot of you know I've had an abusive childhood and blah, 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 blah. And now I'm 57 years old and I'm just starting to really discover who I am. And some people say, well, that's because guys pick up a lot later than girls. So anyway, yeah, maybe I'm just starting to mature now. But anyway, I've gone through a lot of personal transformation in my life, seeking out who I am. So, and I want to share that, right? But I don't make any money with this. But I do make money from some online courses that I developed. I am going to be developing one on personal transformation that will be like not a start to finish kind of thing, but help you to get on the journey and help you to discover yourself. And there might be some stuff from this podcast on there, but it'll be a video-based kind of course. But anyway, I'm looking at doing that if I feel more led to do it and get the time to do it. But I do have a couple of online courses. They're video based and you can download them and watch them on your tablet or wherever you want to go. And one of them is on photography. I'm really big into photography. I sell images and I just entered a prestigious photography competition for people who shoot with iPhones, and I shoot a lot with my iPhone. I do have a regular camera equipment, but there's a lot to be said for mobile photography, and there's prestigious competitions, international competitions around the world now for that kind of thing. Anyway, if you've been interested in learning photography or anything like that, you know, feel free to go to my course because, hey, I got a lot of students in it and people really like it. And it's... you can go to learnphotographyforbeginners.com. And the course is only around, I don't know, $25 American. And so you can learn about photography and you can learn how to see as a photographer sees. My course is not so much, even though it goes into talking about cameras and lenses and focal lengths and all that kind of stuff, is really geared towards seeing as a photographer sees. And there's certain things about photography that will help you take amazing pictures, whether you're shooting through a $6,000 or $7,000 Canon camera, or you're shooting through your iPhone, or an old 1 megapixel digital camera you found free at a junk sale somewhere that still works. You know, once you put a cheap camera into a professional photographer's hands, and you'll still get amazing pictures. And you put a really expensive camera into somebody who doesn't know how to take pictures, and you get mediocre pictures. So it's all about the eye and all about you. It's less about the equipment. And if you want to learn about photography and want to learn and an environment where you can ask questions. It's on demand, so you can just watch it and do it whenever you want. Go to learnphotographyforbeginners.com, and it'll take you to my course. I think it's actually called Masterclass in Photography, but it's hosted on a big online, one of the biggest online learning platforms in the world. So you're totally safe there. But go to that link, learnphotographyforbeginners.com. And also, if you're into developing websites, building websites, or you're a photographer and you want to learn how to make a website really easily, drag and drop easily. Like if you can work a word processor, you could probably build an amazing website on this platform I want to show you and show you how to do it. Or if you've got kids that are getting married, or you're getting married and you want to have a wedding site that people can reply to, or you're a photographer, you want to put your pictures on, like I said, or you want to sell your house, or you want to sell things, or you want to get into business for yourself, you can go to my website building course, and it's called fastwebsitebuildercourse.com. So fastwebsitebuildercourse.com. And it'll take you to my course on how to build websites with no coding, drag and drop easy. And it's just an amazing site. And you can actually build your site for absolutely free on this platform I'm going to show you. And just go there. So there's two places that I make money on. So if you want to help me support this podcast, support my life, and help buy me some coffee, which actually I don't drink anymore. But if you want to help me feed myself and my wife, and go to learnphotographyforbeginners.com if you want to learn photography, and go to fastwebsitebuildercourse.com. And I'm going to, if you want to learn how to build a website, and I'm going to put them on our website, therealtruthaboutyou.com. But anyway, let me see. Should I put some transition music on? Let me see. Oh, yeah. Transition music. Okay, now we're going into the show. Maybe we should make this a little bit more serious music. Oh, I just love this recording on the go. I actually, this morning, didn't even know what I wanted to do, and I didn't even know if I was going to come and podcast today. It was like, what should I talk about? And sometimes it's difficult to come up with topics. So if you want to, you can go to our website, therealtruthaboutyou, and go to .com and go to our contact page. And on the contact page, you can maybe say, hey, can you talk about this in your life? Or tell me how how you met your wife and things you had to overcome, or, all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm more than willing to share that kind of thing with you because I believe in it. But I was talking at the beginning that my friend, she posted to social media, and it was an image with text on it, and it says, growth is painful. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as being stuck somewhere you don't belong. And something in that resonated with me because it's so true. Change is hard, like growth is hard, and it's not something that we come to willingly all the time. I know even little things like I write. I'm a writer also, and so having to show up every day to write is sometimes difficult. You get lazy, you don't want to, and sometimes when you're dealing with issues in your life, it's the same thing. You don't want to. Sometimes it's difficult, and I'm not going to say it's not, because sometimes it really is. But nothing is as worse as what my wife says, staying in your own crap pile. That's even worse, because when you live in that crap pile, right? And then she didn't call it crap, she called it something else. But when you live in that crap pile, then your career is probably not the career you really want. The way you deal with other people is probably not the way you really want. The life that you actually want is probably not what you really want. And so many things about you, about your life and how you view yourself limit you, because what you're doing is limiting who you are. right? Or who you perceive yourself as to who you are, who you perceive yourself to be. And what we have to do is get to a point in our life where we change from the inside, not the outside. Right? You could say, well, if I won money, or if I changed my job, or even if I changed my friends, things would be better. And that's not necessarily the case, because it's just like somebody I know who's moving to another place hoping to do better, right? And the grass is greener on the other side. My wife has a saying. She says, you know what? You take you with you wherever you go. And you might move somewhere else, or you might move to a new job, or you might get a new friend who likes you better or seems to like you better. Or you might do something or buy something and it makes you feel better. Well, it'll only do that for a little while. Once you get over the honeymoon stage of the new thing, the new acquired item, like you bought a new car and it makes you feel great, or you got a new job and that's better. Those idiots that I was working with aren't harping me on me anymore. This is much easier for me. Or you're moved to a new town and things just seem better. Wow. Better. Well, yeah, change will do that. Like, the change of the external environment will give you some reprieve, but it's only temporary reprieve. It's never a fulfilling long-term reprieve, because you take you with you where you go, and you come with all the baggage that you've accumulated. You drag it with you. You think you haven't, but you really have. You really have, yeah. It's like you're at the head of the train, and the train reaches the station and you get off, but your baggage is still at the back and it's still coming up to the platform, and it's going to unload at some point. And that's what happens with your life. When you use externals to try and please you, to try and change you, thinking that the external thing is going to transform your life, it's not. It is not. It did not work with me. I'm just going to take a drink of water here because my throat's getting dry. Yeah, nice water. Things we take for granted sometimes. Water. Anyway, it didn't work with me. I changed careers. I changed jobs. I thought of different things I wanted to do. I took courses. I'm a learning junkie, and I would always, when I really analyzed things, it was like when I took courses and I saw, say, like online courses on learning, like new careers or how to become a business entrepreneur or how to do this or how to do that and make money. And I found that there was one common denominator that never changed. I would look at the promo for the course and I would say, yes, that's what I want. I want that income, or I want this, or I want that lifestyle, or, and I would sign up. And then you would get into the nitty gritty of the course. And then it was like the passion for it kind of changed a little bit, and then it kind of dropped off. And then I'd go to another course to learn, or another book, or another thing. And then, or even change jobs, right? And what I found was, over time, the thing that I was looking at, the thing that inspired me the most was the hope of what I wanted. So I was buying into that hope of what I wanted instead of looking inside and allowing myself to be transformed from the inside out. Like when you look at a flower, when you look at a plant that's just beautiful on the outside, all that is grown from the inside. Like the seed that germinates and opens and sprouts, all comes from the inside of that seed. And it comes out and you see the beauty of that flower, the rose or whatever, and you look at that beauty and it's all come from within. And so I've said this so many times before, that it's already in you. If this is the first episode you're listening to of my podcast, go back and listen to some of my other podcasts too. because I talk about that journey. Is you end up on this journey where you end up back. You go on this journey, you start, and you think it's like a course. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to end there, and at the end of it, I'm going to be better, right? But that's not how it works. You start this course, and you end up back where you are, except you have fresh eyes. Your eyes are awakened. You become awakened to see that you already are beautiful. It's already in there. So that's why we talk about transformation from the inside out. And even I'm not a big believer in people, motivational speakers, and I've seen it on so many countless T-shirts and books, and believe it and achieve it. If you can dream it, believe it, and achieve it, then you'll get there. Or keep telling yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. And you end up like a broken record. And I remember Dr. Stephen Covey, the late Dr. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, which is a really good book to read if you want kind of knowledge of stuff. And anyway, he talks about that it's more than just telling yourself. When you tell yourself something, there's something that happens when you tell it, because whatever you speak out comes from within somewhere, right? And it goes into your ears and into your mind and stuff. So there is something to that. But he said the real change only happens when there's what's called a paradigm shift. And he has in his book, if you look at this book, he has an image. And if you look, it's one of those images, like it's a sketch, a drawing. And if you look at it, it looks like a young, fashionable woman, right? The outline of a fashionable woman. And when you stare at it and you really look and you allow and you stop, like, there used to be, I don't know how to describe it. There used to be a way of looking at certain images where you kind of like look through them. You're not really looking at them. You're kind of sort of looking at them. But anyway, when you look at this image, the first thing you see is the outline of this beautiful, fashionable woman. It's just an outline, right, with some shading and stuff. But if you really see beyond what you see with your mind's eye, you end up seeing the outline of an old woman's face, right? So it's one of those drawings that could be either or. But to see the old woman's face or to see the other image takes a shift in your perspective. And so he talks about this paradigm shift, that the inner change, you have to go through an inner paradigm shift, a change from within, and then the outside starts taking care of itself. Then you start telling yourself you're beautiful because you actually believe you're beautiful. And that you actually believe that you're capable. You actually believe that you have abilities. You actually believe that you are created perfect from God, or whatever your belief system is. But it comes from somewhere within rather than from the external trying to change your internal, and it never works that way. And if you go to any kind of, guru, maybe that's the word, I don't know if that's the right word, but a spiritual transformation person, they'll always tell you to go within. Someone who meditates will always tell you the journey to wholeness is a journey within, a journey to the inside, to the depths, to the core. Richard Rohr, a Catholic contemplative Franciscan priest, always says that the journey upwards is actually a journey downwards, right? The journey to the heights of your life is a journey to the depths of your core. And I've always talked about this before, how we've covered so many things up in our life. And we have that beauty inside. And I've talked about a light. When you walk into a room and it's dark and you turn the light on, the darkness disappears. And what we've done with our life as we've grown up is we've become that darkened room sometimes. We've covered up that beauty of that light that's within us, that immortal diamond within us. We've covered it up. And we have to, some of the things we've covered it up with is old clothing that has to come off, and some of it is stuff that's solidified into rock and we have to hammer through. But that process actually just happens when you allow yourself to show up, when you give yourself permission to be transformed, when you say to yourself, like my wife, I was talking about being in your crap pile. Right? There's nothing like being in your crap pile, but some people don't even realize they're in that crap pile. So if and they just live in it, they're living in the wrong career, their relationship's going wrong because things just, and they're blaming everybody else because they haven't looked after their inside. They don't have that inner peace that comes after you've worked on your inside and become aware of yourself. And so we have to allow ourselves, to give ourselves permission to begin this journey, to say, you know what, I know that there's more to life than what I believe I'm living right now. And I know that my life is capable of much more. Even if you don't think your life is capable of much more, you can at least accept that, yeah, the probability of me being able to do much more or be much more than I am, be more peaceful, be in a loving relationship, right? And I'm not saying that your relationship that you're in is wrong. I'm just saying the way you perceive it, the way you perceive your life reflects on your relationship. You know, if you don't love yourself, how can you really, truly love someone else? And how can you, if you don't love yourself, how can you truly accept love from another? Because they'll never measure up. Because you don't love yourself enough, so nobody else's love will ever measure up. You know, there'll always be conditions, there'll always be things. So one of the first things you have to do is be aware that there's probably an issue. There's things in your life that need to be dealt with. There's inner things in your life. And I've discovered upon my journey that it's not, I don't have to go in like when I went to counseling. I don't have to go in and psychoanalyze my childhood or psychoanalyze my upbringing or my teenage life or why I did certain things, why I did what I did. All I have to do is allow the change to happen and be aware, right? Start the process of being self-aware. Submit to that openness. Say, okay, I give in. I'm going to be open to transformation. And I'm going to allow myself to be healed. You've just given yourself the greatest permission of your life. Even though you don't realize it, things are going to happen. I'm a big believer in God. I'm a big believer that we need divine intervention, divine help, right? To uncover all that beauty that was in when we were little babies. We were pure, right? And to get back to that purity that's within us, right? That power, right? And this is a hard thing for men to grasp sometimes because we look at vulnerability and going within as something weak, right? And we look at strength as being something external. You know, I'm a hunter. I'm a this, I'm a that. I drive 4x4s. I do hockey. I do soccer. I do football. You know, and all that. And whatever seems tough and strong is masculine. Okay? Well, that's great. You can do masculine things, but strength comes from within. And to be in a spot of vulnerability is a point of being really powerless and powerful at the same time. Being powerless and vulnerable is a sign of strength and power in your life, right? And so one of the biggest things is that awareness and that acceptance to start the journey, right? And with that comes truth, the ability to accept truth, to say to yourself, truth is the beginning, the first step of the journey. Being truthful, being honest. Be honest with yourself. If you're not going to be honest with yourself, then your journey is going to take a lot longer, right? So if you're angry, be honest that you're angry. If you're upset, be honest that you're upset. If you've done things that are not great, that you're not proud of, then be honest about those. Be truthful about those. And when you become aware of those things, allow those awarenesses to be there. You don't have to psychoanalyze. Like I said, why did I do that? Why am I arguing like that? Why am I always defending myself? Why am I always playing these mind games? You don't have to psychoanalyze. You just have to become aware. Right? That's one of the first steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, that you became aware that you were powerless to alcohol. Okay? So it's that thing, just being aware. So that's the first step. And then being open to truth. Allowing truth in your life. Because truth and your acceptance of that truth will help transform you. And now I said before, I'm already a big believer in God. And God is just, I can't even fathom how if I didn't have God in my life, I'm pretty sure if I didn't have that awareness of God in my life, even though my interpretation of God was pretty flawed. I saw God as an external God on a throne, ready to punish me at the first thing I did wrong. And so I had to be right all the time. I had to, even with God, I had to be doing the right things. And if I did the wrong things, then I'm back at, I don't know if there's that snakes and ladders or chutes and ladders, whatever you call it, and you hit a chute or a snake, and you thought you were climbing the ladders, and then you hit that, and then woo, way back down you go. And that's what I interpreted God as in religion, and because that's what my upbringing was, and that's what I put on to God. And since that point, and since now, and the journey, especially over the last 3-4 years, my transformation has been amazing, as I've learned about God within and God around, and oneness with a true God, and not just my perception of God, even though my perception is so limited still, right? Anytime you try to define who God is, you're already limiting God. But I'm a real big believer that you need divine connection, that you need that divine alignment, whatever you want to call it. But you need that to do your life, to improve your life, to go on this journey. And I'll tell you this, once you get on that journey to self-awareness, to self-realization, to becoming one with God, with whatever you want to call it, the universe, right? Which I believe is all created by God anyway, and it's all God anyway. Once you get that oneness with love, somebody, a friend of mine, Garth, just said to me, once we get to that oneness with love, we'll be all powerful, right? Because our life will be so fulfilled. And when you get to that oneness and that awareness, right, and that awakening in your life, then your job is going to take care of itself. You might end up in a different job, a different career, but it's going to be one that you really want, right? Or at least you're going to be content with what you've got, because peace and joy will come from within. So when you take that wherever you go, you're going to take that peace, that inner joy, wherever you go, whatever you do, whatever situation you find yourself in, whatever relationships you find yourself in, whatever careers, what jobs you find yourself in, even when you experience more pain, right? You're going to have that inner peace and that inner strength to be able to handle that. So I really want to encourage you that even though growth and change can be painful, staying where you are in a place where you're not meant to be, in a place of disharmony, of unrest, unpeace, is even harder, is even more painful, and will dullin your life. Wouldn't you rather have something that's fulfilling? Wouldn't you rather have an inner joy that makes you enjoy your life? Even if you're suffering, going through like I went through cancer. Wouldn't you like to have an inner peace? When I was going through my cancer, and I'm in the recovery process now, but when I was going through that, even facing the possibility of death, and even though I was throwing up and it was horrible, and some of the pains I had were horrible, and I'm not going to say they weren't, right? There was still an inner peace in me about death, about life, about what I was going through. I didn't want to be going through that all that pain and that suffering. The same way some of my emotional crap, I didn't want to go through that either. But when you come out the end, and when you come into that awareness, when you come full circle back to your life where you are right now in the present moment, and you come into that awareness of who you truly are, the peace and the joy, the contentment, everything that you will feel will be so much better. So I encourage you to stay the course, to, put up with hardships like St. Paul says in the Bible. Stay the course and celebrate. Somebody just said, do you look at a rose bush and say, oh, it's got thorns in it? Or do you celebrate that this thorn bush has beautiful roses on it? So anyway, there's half an hour right now. And so stay the course. And, I just want to encourage you that way, that it's worth it. I've been on that journey of personal transformation for years and years and years and years. Sometimes it takes a long time. But it's well worth it. Every day slowly gets better, even though the pain is hard to go through. I'm not saying it's not. And sometimes life seems a bit foggy, but it's worth it. 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 It is worth it. Okay? Anyway, so my name is Will Sinclair, and you've been listening to The Real Truth About You. Go to therealtruthaboutyou.com, and you can get more episode downloads and resources and things. And also, remember, if you want to learn about photography on your journey, go to learnphotographyforbeginners.com. And I've heard that photography, and I've experienced this, is like meditation. You're in that solitary moment with your camera. You're just you and your camera, whatever. So anyway, learnphotographyforbeginners.com. And if you're into website building for anything, you want a temporary website for something, fastwebsitebuildercourse.com. That's fastwebsitebuildercourse.com. Both of these help me to survive. So anyway, if you want to help support this podcast and you want to learn something on the side, then go there. And remember one thing, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved. And, you absolutely rock.